So, a little over a week ago, I did my video on the first year of the Nintendo Switch. On the anniversary, I discussed how the Switch had an amazing first year, one of the best of any system. A new Mario and a new Zelda game in the same year, and it has the sales to back up that claim as well. But as we headed into the system's second year, things were a bit more in question. But man, what a difference a Nintendo Direct makes, am I right? What a difference one single game announcement makes. Yeah, year 2 is really starting to take shape. We're still getting the stuff we knew about, obviously. Kirby comes out next week. I feel like this is really the big kickoff for year 2. I know this isn't on the level of Nintendo's other big games, but it's still a noteworthy release, especially for how long it's been since we've seen a real Kirby game playable on home console. I'm actually digging the Legends sort of lineup they're offering for allies for Kirby to team up with. In a similar vein, I've got high hopes for the upcoming Yoshi game. Yoshi's Woolly World was excellent, in my opinion. The visual style, the music, do not sleep on that Woolly World soundtrack. Go listen to some tracks after this. They're great. And it's good that it seems like they're going to be keeping this and Kirby separate, pretty far apart, as they're similar in the terms that they're both 2D platformers. So if Yoshi releases more towards the end of the year, people who like these types of games will probably be ready at that point to pick up another one. Fire Emblem is still slated to release this year, but all has been pretty quiet on that front for quite a while. For me, that game is going to be a pretty big deal. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I loved the recent 3DS games, and just doing something similar to what they've been doing, but on a larger scale with the added power of the Switch, and I think we're going to get something really special with that title. Mario Tennis Aces is something I've gotten increasingly hyped over. When it was first revealed, I was saying, I was intrigued by the story mode stuff, but this past Direct really put it over the top for me, so I'm looking forward to it. But these sorts of games, while they very well can end up being great, they aren't on that big system seller level. Mario Tennis Aces could get a perfect 100 on Metacritic. All the, quote, gaming journalists. What a joke. They all swear by it, and it's still not going to put up those big numbers. You gotta have the blockbusters, especially when Kimishima has talked a pretty big game about their Switch predictions for this year. And at this last Nintendo Direct, they confirmed one of their biggest IPs will in fact have a release in 2018, Super Smash Bros. Obviously, we know next to nothing about this game. The Inklings are going to be in it. That's about it in terms of reveals beyond the game itself. But that's the beauty of a franchise like this. You don't need to show much. This was just like the Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon reveals at E3 last year. Show nothing, maybe a logo or something, and people still completely lose their minds. If you want to know what puts a game, a franchise in this major release category, that's a good starting point. Games that don't even have to show anything and take over the internet, social media, all that stuff by storm. I mean, with this recent Smash release, what did your YouTube subscription and Twitter feeds, etc., all look like over the next 24 hours or so? I assume you saw the word Smash a few times. I assume you saw this eyeball a couple of times too. So Smash is obviously a huge deal, but the Switch had 2 of such games last year. Again, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. Now, I'm not saying we should expect these sorts of dual mega releases every year going forward. I mean, it's possible. Maybe Nintendo, the way I would see it, this is probably even like another video or off topic, but the way I could see them doing this, which I've actually said I'd like to see more of, is doing more sequel-esque type things. I've said I don't necessarily need the next Zelda game to be something totally different. I could very much go for a sort of Breath of the Wild 2, where they build from the original and give us a new adventure in a similar game. No reason to move on from that just yet, in my opinion. Stuff like that could help them get big games out more regularly. Personally, I don't remember anyone complaining about us getting Mario Galaxy and then Mario Galaxy 2, for instance. And with Smash's release, let's also not forget the online. This Smash game is not just about selling players Smash Brothers. It's just as much, if not even more so, about selling players on Nintendo's online subscriptions. So Nintendo better pray to the gaming gods that it performs well online. I predict big problems for them if this game comes out and the online is complete garbage, which is a bit of a staple for Smash games at this point. I have the utmost confidence that the game itself, whatever it is, will be great, but in terms of that online, they really need to turn things around with this release. So while Smash alone could lead the Switch to put up the numbers Nintendo wants, for me, the consumer, the player, to consider this year to be on the level of the previous one, and certainly if I was going to say this year was better than year one, I'd need another big game. From what we've seen in the Nintendo news and rumor scene as of late, all signs point to that game possibly being the next Pokemon. I did a full video on this a while ago, stuff like the new job postings for localization positions, that financial report stuff that had the game listed as 2018 or later, which, don't forget, the Switch's second year doesn't end at the end of this year, in December. It would end on March 3rd, 2019. I've said the glimpses we've seen into this game's development, the way I interpret them, tells me the story of investors or certain higher-ups that want this game out for the holidays, and a development team that may be wanting more time. Again, stuff like the 2018 or later, when everything else was listed as 2018, 2019, TBA, etc., makes me feel like there are some people involved who do not want to let go of 2018 as a release date, which could very well mean the game spills into 2019, perhaps early 2019. Now, I'd say it would be weird, of course, to put this game in, say, a January or February over the holidays, but if you can't make the date, you can't make the date. And let's be real, while Pokemon may sell better during the holidays, as games tend to do, this game is going to move software and systems like crazy whenever it comes out. While it would benefit them during the holidays, Pokemon certainly doesn't need the holidays to be a big success. And maybe it could be beneficial if Nintendo put something big in this slot. Like I was saying before this most recent Direct dropped, morale was sort of low in the Nintendo fan community. Sticking a big release post-holidays could help keep that momentum high. Horizon Zero Dawn, the big PS4 game of last year, was delayed into its late February slot. That game was a new IP that certainly didn't have the level of buzz behind it that this new Pokemon game is going to have, and it's not like the February date killed it or anything. We could see something similar for Pokemon. Essentially, while not releasing during the holidays wouldn't be optimal for the game, it's not like it would be devastating either. But yeah, for me to consider this year 2 for the Nintendo Switch to be bigger and better than the first, I'd need another major release besides Smash. And Pokemon seems to be the game most likely to be that second game. However, I still think the system is going to do great. It's going to be a great year for both Nintendo and the fans, regardless if that becomes the case or not. Like I stated at the beginning, there's still a good amount of solid other stuff set for release this year. If Nintendo doesn't match the incredible first year, that doesn't make the second one bad, okay? So with that, this video is a wrap. Let me know how you think the Switch's second year is shaping up in terms of how it compares to the first in the comments. We know a new Smash Bros. Is set for 2018. What else would you need to see to consider this year better than the last? As always, I'm John Zacari, and thanks for watching.